Kev, are you getting overtime off the pitch tonight?
Okay, so just first question. Do you feel Ballyhea is a good moral compass for this event?
Oh, it is. It's ideal, and I think Ballyhea is really coming into its own now. They have been protesting here since the beginning, nearly 200 weeks at this stage, and at a time when the buzz phrase was Irish people don't want to protest or they don't like protesting. Well, it's catching on, and now everyone is doing it.
Okay. Do you feel water is the new oil or not?
Well, at the end of the day, you will last longer without oil than you will without water. And I discovered that during the week with my newborn baby, that basically it is the most important commodity. It might seem bleeding obvious, but it really becomes obvious when you discover that you can't run something under the tap because it's got cryptosporidium in it, that your wife cannot have a shower after she comes home after having a cesarean because she could get killed by it, and it is the most important commodity, and all the more reason not to leave it in the hands of Irish Water, and more importantly not in the hands of John Tierney, who was described by the local government auditing services as weak. And when we're dealing with the most important commodity of all, we don't need someone who's weak, we need someone who is really, really strong, and we need an organisation that's strong. He's not strong, and the organisation is anything but strong.
Okay. Why are the Irish government committing suicide in relation to the water charges, or do you think they are?
It's very hard to know, because it seems to be obvious to everyone else that this is a dead duck at this stage, but the government want to persist with it. I watched, just by pure chance the other night, I watched a documentary on the decline of the SARS, and it was in the end because they felt that they were, well, they always thought they were divine beings, but they felt that they didn't have to listen to their people anymore. And if you have dictators that feel they don't have to listen to their people anymore and they get kicked out of power, well, it's going to happen to these people as well. They're not actually listening to people, and at this stage everything they do is more comical than anything else, but the sad thing is it's tragic for everyone's lives.
Okay. What is your thoughts about Michael Noonan saying that he got us a good deal, with Sweden paying the debt early? Do you think it is a good deal or not?
I don't think it's a good deal. What would be a good deal would be repudiating this odious debt, lock, stock and barrel, getting lesser interest rates and getting deals on money that you never had in the first place. Well, as far as I'm concerned, that's it's just rubbish. It's like me claiming I got a good deal on paying my neighbour's mortgage, and at the end of the day my neighbour still owns that house.
Okay, and just what do you think about TTIP?
I think, it was hopeful during the week that the French government have come out against the dispute resolution mechanism, and it seems to be becoming more and more unpopular. But at the end of the day, all this has been dealt with behind closed doors in the Commission, and from Ireland's point of view, I'm sure we'll go along with whatever they say in the Commission, even though it was stated quite clearly by the institutions in the EU that if this goes through, for example, for people who work in the whole suckler area of farming, it will be a nightmare. But at the end of the day, I would imagine that Michael Noonan and Enda Kenny will not be thinking about the suckler farmers, they'll be thinking about Microsoft, they'll be thinking about Google, and if history is anything to go by, they will probably win out. But that would be a disaster, I think. Okay,
last question. How can Irish people help maybe in protesting the bank bailout? Do you think they can, or is there a way they can?
Well, Enda Kenny said that the water protests weren't just about water. Well, it's probably the most intelligent thing he's said since he got elected, because they're not just about water. They are about everything that has gone wrong in this country. And mainly they're about the fact that of all our taxes, most of it, an awful lot of it doesn't actually go back to services, and an awful lot of it goes back to pay back our debt. 8 billion euros in interest every year, and going by the answer to a Dáil question, 1.6 billion directly attributed to this bank bailout.
Okay, thank you very much.
Marcus Howard, test 1, 2, 3.